Hello everybody, this is Sherry at djsundry.blogspot.com, and today I wanted to do a quick how do I tutorial using the Tags, Bags, Boxes, and More 2 cartridge. Now I have to say I was so excited when this first came out several months ago, and I waited to get it and I couldn't find it at a price initially that I really wanted to pay for it, so I finally used some rewards points off of a credit card and redeemed them to be able to purchase this. And then I got it home and I opened it up, and I have to say it intimidated me. It came with not one but 2 manuals, and I thought, oh, it's going to take me some time to learn how to use this. So I've had it for probably, I don't know, maybe even 2-3 months, and I finally pulled it out the other day, and I have to say I was really frustrated with it. So I'm going to walk you through what I've learned about this cartridge, and then I'm going to I've only cut one of the boxes in this cartridge with this particular cartridge, but we're going to cut another one together just to see how well it works. So let's get started. Now the first thing I want to tell you is this is the main book, and there are some features in this book that are very interesting. The first one is, this is the regular feature. Now this particular one is a teacup and a saucer. This is the way the finished product will look. Now if you look down here, there's an oval, and this particular oval says 9 inches, whereas if you come over here, this particular oval says 8 inches. And then there's one over here that says 15 inches, and it also lists it in centimeters as well. So what does that all mean? The book is pretty self-explanatory on that particular thing. What that means is some of these are at an intricate enough cut that you should only cut it no smaller than whatever's in the oval. So for this teacup it says 9 inches. So that's what the ovals are all about. Now as we come down here, these are the main features of your key or your book. And when I first opened that up, I thought, what in the world are those funny lines? Well, I figured it out. And we'll talk about this. But this is the main feature, and this is the shift feature. Now, suppose you want a larger box, and this is what I love about this cartridge. You know, you could only go so big with the boxes on Tags, Bags, Boxes, and More, and I have made some cute things out of that cartridge, but you could only go so big. Well, this, you can divide the box into more than one cut and go larger. So for this one, this is the box 1 feature. You cut it at 8 inches, and this is the shift feature, which we'll talk about in a few minutes, and then the box 2 feature. So because you're not cutting it all in one sheet or one piece, you can make much larger boxes, and to me that's very exciting. And I'll have a project coming up where I show you some larger boxes that I made. So now this is for the tags on this are so much fun. This is the tag feature. Now in this, and in all of them, there's one tag that coordinates with every box in here. So for this tag, it's actually a teacup, and I just think it's absolutely adorable. But then it also has a card feature. And with the card feature, you can cut out the base of your card, you can cut out your card. That's not a feature I've played with, it's not a feature I've used, because right now my focus is the teacup. This is, there's phrases that go with it. This one says, not your cup of tea. There's more designs or something you could use on that. And then over here, the very last feature on it is a phrase right in the corner. These phrases are designed to be used with their ink pens, and so it will actually scribble the phrase onto your card or wherever you want to do it in the font that's on there. So I thought that was kind of fun. I haven't purchased the gel pen set or any of the other pens, so that may be something I try later, but for now that section's one that I'm not going to use. So that is the first book. Now when you get in here, this is the second book, and I thought, why in the world do I need 2 books? Well, this book tells you the best order to score and glue your boxes in, and that was one of those things that was a tad bit intimidating to me, and I was concerned about it, but we're going to talk about that as we go along. Now, I see that I've kind of chosen a complicated box. I think I'm going to switch the box I was going to do. I was going to do the tea bag, but let's go to a simpler box just for the sake of the video, and we're going to do the pyramid when we make it. And this tag, of course, is another adorable tag. It has the thinking of you tag on it. So let me show you how to set up the box. Now for this particular box, it might not matter. One of the best features that I found in, well, not best, but one of the good features that I found in this particular cartridge is that there are no tick marks for scoring. Now, I know that a lot of you use the Gypsy or the Craft Room to hide your score lines and just use your score. I use the Martha Stewart scoreboard if I want to score something. I know there's lots of options out there. But this particular one, cartridge, has the features work well with this scoring blade. Now I have to tell you, my first thought was I can do whatever I want to do on my Martha Stewart scoreboard. That was a wrong assumption, and I did have to go purchase this blade. Now again, for this particular box, you could probably figure it out based on the shape of the box. However, on some of the other boxes that have a lot of curves, I did not do well trying to score on a curve without the score blade. So the score blade is purple. It's like all of the other Cricut blades. The housing is here and you put the blade in it here, and it's dull. It's just a scoring tip. Now I'm going to be using some really lightweight paper because I just went back into my stash and found an extra piece that I didn't really need. So I have it set at a pretty shallow depth. I have it set at a 2. This housing is really not that expensive. My Joann's actually had it on sale for 25% off, so I think I picked it up for about $10 the other day. I think normal retail on the Cricut site is like $14.99. So, I mean, I guess the first thing would be sure that you're really going to want this cartridge, because not only are you going to need to buy the cartridge for it, but you really do need the score blade. So let's get started. When I showed you before, remember I said there's a shift feature here and it has these funny squiggly lines. That's what the score lines are for. Now this is the biggest tip, and this is why I'm doing this video. I wasn't planning on doing this video right now. Probably eventually I would have as I got more proficient. But I want all of you to not have the frustrations that I had with it. I cut my shape. I was actually making what's called a French fry box. I cut my shape multiple times, and I could not get my score lines to match up with the cut lines. They were shifted to the side. My score lines would be on this edge of the paper, and then scooted over would be my other my cut lines, and I was really frustrated with it. I went on and I googled the problem, which sent me into the Cricut forum, and I found that a lot of people have been frustrated with that problem. And the fix for the Cricut Expression, now I don't know anything about the other machines, but the fix for that, for the Cricut Expression, as someone posted on the Cricut forum, is so simple. I don't know about you, but I always have this button right here on the material saver because I try to save as much paper as I can. However, if you're using the material saver, it will not put the score lines in the correct position. So keep that in mind. You have to have material saver off. That's what's going to save you on this. So let's go ahead and I'll show you how to use it. I've already loaded my score blade in the housing. So let's load some paper. Now nobody get upset because I'm using nice paper. I am using nice paper, and it's paper that I have a large amount of. That's why I'm using it. Now according to the little number here, the smallest size that's best to cut this at is 7.5 inches. So I'm going to set that at 7.5. And I think I'm going to bring my pressure down a little bit because this is fairly lightweight paper. I mean, it's beautiful paper. It's from hot off the press, but it's paper. It's not cardstock. So again, I would be using a better quality cardstock, but I just didn't want to waste my 12 by 12 black and white to show this. So we're going to find the button. This, like most of the new Cricut cartridges, it has the button highlighted, which in this one is this pyramid button. Now I'm going to hit the shift key, shift key, and then the pyramid key. And this funny little squiggly line will show up, and I am going to hit cut. So we'll let that cut. Now I'll talk over the Cricut here. It really doesn't look like much is happening. Now I may have found that my it may not end up being deep enough. I may need to go back and rescore it, but that's okay. So now the next step is do not unload your mat. Instead of hitting unload mat like you normally would when you get to an end of project, you're going to hit load mat once again. And that takes you right back, sorry about that, to the top of the page. Now, my score marks are there. I think real quick, I'm just going to recut that, because though they're there, I don't know that they were scored enough. So I set my blade at 3, and let's recut it again real quick. It's really not going to hurt it. And now I'm seeing that the score lines are a little bit deeper. Again, you're going to have to play with it like any other Cricut cut. You're going to have to play with it and choose your blade size and stuff. So now what I'm going to do before I do anything, I guess you can do this either time, but now I'm going to loosen my nut here and remove my scoring blade and put in my normal Cricut blade. Now I just want to set that size down a bit. I think we're going to go with 4 on this paper and put that in. Now this is the point where you don't hit unload mat. Like I said, you're going to hit load mat. And then now instead of hitting the shift feature, I'm just going to hit the box, the normal key feature. Wait for it to come up, and then I'm going to cut it. My tripod's a little bit too close. Now I could maybe cut an 8-inch box out of this, I'm not sure, out of a 12 by 12. But now I'm just going to pull this up. I think it's time to replace my blade. Okay. And now I'm going to go over to my regular table and I'm going to show you what I'm going to do next. So hold on for just one moment. Okay, so I'm back, and here I have my piece. Now, this is, you can't really see the score lines, but they are perfectly in there. And this is where the putting the box together comes into place. Now, for this box, and probably for most of them, I'm just looking at it. As you go through the book, this guide is really more if you're making the larger boxes. It shows you what needs scored and what needs where you need to put your glue, whereas it's pretty self-explanatory where things will go by the folds. So I am just going to find my score marks, and I am just going to start creasing. Now I could get my my bone folder out. I'm not going to in this particular case, at least not right now. Again, this is just a quickie box, but what I'm going to do, oh, I messed that one up, is I'm going to score everywhere where there's a score mark. I am going to go ahead and get that folded, and then it should be pretty easy to figure out where my box goes. Of course, if I was making a big box, I would it would be a better material, that not as lightweight, although this, I suppose, as long as you weren't putting anything too heavy in it, maybe just for table decorations, it would probably be just fine. Okay, so now if you kind of look, it's almost just going to take shape on itself. So now I am going to look. This on the top up here, it showed me where to put the glue to join the two sections. But now that on the bottom, once the two sections are joined, that's basically what I have here. So it looks like I'm going to put glue on these two sections here. Now I'm not gluing this box because it is lightweight, and if I'm off the camera here, I apologize a little bit, but just know I've got my ATG gun and I'm just getting my ATG in place, and we're just going to see where this kind of leads us. Looks like that one's going to go there, so oops, let's line that up there. Wow, that really is going together very easily. That one's got the tape there. So this is more of a decorative box anyway, and then across here. So then I would put ATG there. So it really is more of a favor type box, and there's my pyramid. So again, I could have figured this one out probably just going point to point using my scoreboard. But if you go further in the book, look at the, there's a mailbox here. That would be far more difficult without the score blade. The box that I made that I had a difficult time with was this French fry box, and I want to show you what I did. So this is my initial one that I made before I bought the score blade, and so I just kind of guesstimated where the point to point went, and I actually made a couple of large ones, and they turned out a little bit better. These were using two different sheets of paper, but it turned out a little bit better because what I did is I scored it point to point, and then I just laid the round part across my scoreboard, and just, it's kind of complicated to explain what I did. I made it work. But if you notice the shape on the smaller one, I just couldn't even make it work, and it's not the right shape. In comparison, this is the exact same box that I scored. Doesn't look much different there, although the edges meet a little bit better. But when you look at the bottom, this actually looks like the box it's supposed to look like, whereas this one does not. So I think it's a great cartridge. I can't wait to play with it and use it to its full potential. Now that I figured out those few little things, like what the buttons do, and that having the score board is really important, and most importantly that you have to have the material saver off, I think it will make creating boxes and fun things a lot more fun and a lot easier to do. So be watching my blog at www.djsundry.blogspot.com to see what great projects I find to create using this great cartridge, tags, bags, boxes, and more too. Have a great day, and remember to enjoy the little things of life, whatever you're doing today. See you later. Bye.